Okay, so we have a major update on Ben Affleck's status as the Batman. The actor was said to just be coming back for the Flash movie, but we now know that he will be returning in some capacity for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. We're going to be breaking it all down in this video, but whilst I'm talking in the most monotone British voice possible, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the update, so make sure you drop them in the comments as we go through it all. I also want to discuss what I've heard is happening with Henry Cavill's Superman, and why there's so much back and forth over the status of the character. Now if you're hyped, then please hit the thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe for comic book breakdowns every week. With that out the way, thank you for clicking this, now let's get into the video. Now this comes directly from Jason Momoa, who shared a post of both him and Affleck together on Instagram. Momoa posted 2 photos of the pair together with the caption, "Reunited Bruce and Arthur." The rest of it went on to talk about what happened, and apparently they wanted to keep this a secret, but a Warner Brothers studio tour stumbled on set and went through the backlot. They found a dressing room with the initials BA on it, and obviously this secret would have got out. Don't know why he couldn't have just Andrew Garfielded his way through the next 6 months. That kind of acting exacts a heavy toll. Either way, Affleck is back, and though he might not be donning the cape and cowl, he will be there at least as Bruce. This is coupled with him showing up in The Flash, so we'll be getting at least 2 appearances of him. We also have Michael Keaton playing a version of the Dark Knight in that movie as well, and we know that he's returning for Batgirl. On top of this, we have Robert Pattinson playing Batman, and yeah, I don't think DC know what they're doing, but you know what? I'm here for it. Just bring every Batman back ever, baby. My bat nipples are getting hard.
Spoiler alert.
Now, if you've followed the channel for a while, then you'll know that we love Batfleck in the role, and I'm really hyped to see him back. I know there's a lot of arguments online every day about which Batman that DC should be going forward with, but if they're gonna have 3, then f it, let them have it. Now, I'm a big fan of Keaton, Affleck, and Pattinson, and if they can find a way for them all to coexist together in their own timelines, then I don't see why not. Now, there is also speculation that Batgirl may be pushed back now. Affleck will cameo in Aquaman and then be killed off in The Flash. I've heard a lot of conflicting things about how he'll be erased, but then other things that contradict this, and yeah, there's plenty of time for DC to put things in place to go with public opinion. It's super confusing if Batgirl doesn't get delayed, and at this point, I'm expecting Batman to show up in the Marvels or some because yeah, DC, who knows what they're doing. Now DC of course had a panel at Hall H over the weekend where they unveiled the first Shazam 2 trailer and also a new one for Black Adam. I think Marvel came in after them and completely sucked all the wind out the room, and after their Phase 5 and 6 announcement, it was difficult to feel like DC had done all they could. That's why I'm surprised they didn't announce this there, especially with all the buzz that there was about Henry Cavill showing up, which turned out to be untrue. Now Ben was honeymooning at the time with his new wife Jennifer Lopez, but they could have said he was going to be in the movie or have done something more. Aquaman 2 has a lot of people threatening to boycott it because of the whole Amber Heard thing, and though her role has been reduced, that petition still stands at 4.6 million signatures. So I think this would have helped to restore some faith in the studio, especially for people like me who want to see Batfleck back. Now the filming of Affleck took place during the reshoots for Aquaman 2. Also, yeah, every time I say Aquaman, some f***ing in the comments is like, actually, it's pronounced Aquaman. Yeah, maybe where you live, but words, yeah, they're pronounced differently depending on where you live, you stupid f***ing It's 2022, and you still don't know this. You're a f***ing idiot, and stop writing in my c***. Anyway, thanks for clicking this video, and with this being part of the reshoots, I think it shows that Affleck has a minimal role that is likely going to either be part of the film's beginning, ending, or even a post-credit scene. Most of the movie has been shot, and it would take so much for them to rework the entire script to have him as a fully fleshed out character, so expect to see him probably pop up for a scene or 2 at most. I think what will likely be happening with the timeline itself is that The Flash will split things off, and we'll get the Snyderverse classed as the previous universe, whereas Keaton and co might go forward to the future. This won't necessarily mean that things are erased, and potentially they can pick up where they left off in another universe if needs be. This will give them an out for if their next universe underperforms, and they just decide to go into that. Now Pattinson will continue with the Matt Reeves verse, which we know is getting a sequel, and I believe the Penguin show is dropping on HBO Max next year. Probably should have double checked that, but DC clearly have different timelines and universes going on, so that they don't actually need to have a full plan in place like Marvel does. We still don't know which continuity that Black Adam is in, and in all honesty, I don't think that Warner Brothers knows either. From what I've been told, that's also the case with Henry Cavill too. Now for the next part of the video, I want to go over what I've heard is happening with his version of Superman. It's probably something you've heard touched upon in other things, but I thought I'd go over what I'd heard from people behind the scenes that have their own sources and contacts at Warner Brothers. Now they said that Henry isn't out completely, but that he and the studio are having a lot of difficulty nailing down their terms and conditions. Me personally, when it comes to that stuff, I just click agree, and that's probably why I'm a YouTuber. Now, David Zaslav took over control of Warner Brothers after the Discovery merger, and he was completely perplexed as to why Cavill has been cut as being the character. It's a bit weird that we keep getting these headless cameos, and apparently he wants a universe built with him as Superman at the center of it. Originally, there were plans for Supergirl to take over after The Flash, and though she'll be a big part of the DCEU, Cavill is who's wanted at the center of it. However, it's apparently coming down to money, projects, and also what's going on in the universe. I think that Black Adam vs Superman would be great, but even The Rock seemed to not fully know what was going on with the situation when he said this.
You should tell him.
Well, look, you know, that's a great question, Luke. Don't threaten me with a good time, because I'm going to answer that question. I will say, as you guys know, because we're all in deep with this mythology, and it's been the age-old question of who would win in a fight between Black Adam and Superman. Pound for pound, they're pretty close. I guess it probably all depends on who's playing Superman. I will just say that. So I'll leave it at that. I will leave it at that, and we'll just go with that one.
I think you got something extra special to give people. You guys had two great questions. That was an awesome way to end that one. I think you guys brought something really special, though, to share with Hall H. Is that right?
I did. President Rock, thank you very much. I got one vote. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, so we do. We have some very, very exclusive. Yeah, Tiffany, I know. She's used to me being half drunk. Like, where am I going?
You did say get lit, though.
We have some very exclusive footage just for you, for Black Adam,
So yeah, it doesn't exactly seem like a done deal, and though actors have been known to play coy with questions on upcoming projects, with Cavill already being cast as him, I don't see why they'd do this. Now Cavill apparently wants more money than the studio are willing to offer, and he also wants a sequel, whereas they see him doing more cameo type roles. They basically want him as a sort of Tony Stark after Iron Man 3, where he pops up in the team-up movies, or as someone who acts as a mentor to the characters like Supergirl. However, from what I've been told by my uncle Kevin, spoilers, he wants a solo movie which the company are unsure about taking a risk on. There are some higher-ups at Warner Brothers that don't know how to make the character relevant in these current times, and thus they think that anything centered around him would underperform. If only there was a Superman show on right now that showed you how to make him relevant, but I digress. Now, Affleck coming back shows that there is hope, and that it's like your car keys. What? Who writes this shit? Like your car keys. Hope is like your car keys. But yeah, Affleck shows that there is some hope. However, he is appearing in a diminished role at the moment, where he's likely just doing a couple of days shooting, whereas Cavill's part would be much more demanding. I think it's still all on the table though, and hopefully we hear something locked in soon. Now at this point, Man of Steel released almost 10 years ago, and when they were this deep, Marvel were up to their third Thor movie, whereas we haven't even had a standalone sequel for DC's flagship character. Kinda sucks seeing them unveil stuff all the way up to Phase 6, whereas I still have no idea what Warner Brothers are doing. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on the situation with him, whether you're happy to see him back or if you're not. Me, I just wish they'd make a decision instead of these constant teasers and actually lock something in place, but maybe that's what they're doing and we just don't know it. Also, huge shoutouts to the team over at Project Justice League 2, who just dropped a big trailer for their fan film that takes the original Snyder storyboards for the sequel and makes them into an animated movie. I'll link that in the description if you want to go check it out, as it's definitely worth watching if you want more Snyderverse. Now we are also running a competition right now and giving away 3 copies of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness on the 15th of August. All you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the news. We pick the comments at random at the end of the month, and the winners of the last one are on screen right now, so message me on Twitter at HeavySpoilers if that's you. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of the trailers that were shown at the Marvel event. We go over everything that happened in them, what Easter eggs popped up, and definitely go check it out if you want to know more. That out of the way, thanks for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.